Cognitive aging. Cognitive aging is a process of gradual longitudinal changes in cognitive functions that accompany the aging process, and this happens naturally in all humans. Now, as we age, two major things happen. There is a reduction in brain size and the cognitive or social decline influenced by multiple factors such as cognitive reserve, social interaction, activities, and purpose in life. Now, as we look at cognitive aging, we need to take a look at cognitive health, and we take a look at the definition offered by Henry et al. So cognitive health is not just the absence of cognitive impairment, but the development and preservation of the multi-dimensional cognitive structure that allows the older adult to maintain social connectedness and ongoing sense of purpose and the abilities to function independently, to permit functional recovery from illness and injury, and to cope with residual cognitive deficits. So it's very important to take a look and to consider one's cognitive health so as to have a good quality of life. Now, cognition is important because it allows for functional independence as people age, including whether you can live independently, manage finances, take medications correctly, and drive safely. It is also vital for humans to communicate effectively, including processing and integrating sensory information and responding appropriately to others. Now, when we think about the cognitive domain, there are 5 main areas that we can consider, and these are attention, memory, executive cognitive function, language, and visuospatial abilities. So when we think about attention, we're talking about the amount of time it takes to focus on information and to process. We're thinking about memory, not just long-term memory, but the working memory, which needs to be activated for processing to take place. The executive cognitive function, which allows integration of skills and ideas and all of those processing functions. Talking about language in terms of communication and visuospatial abilities. Now, there are some factors that cause damage to the brain and can affect cognition. And these may not be experienced by everyone, but they can impact on the level of cognition in the older adult. So you have things like head trauma and toxins such as alcohol, excess stress hormones, and the development of dementia in all of its forms. However, all humans will have particular kinds of cognitive abilities. The crystallized abilities, which will be the skills and memories acquired in the past, such as vocabulary, history, and mathematical functions, and fluid abilities, which would require the person to process information at the given time, to use that new information and to quickly solve problems. Now, if you think about the crystallized abilities, if you consider your interaction with older persons, you would recognize that memories of their childhood or activities that would have occurred a long time ago in the distant past are those activities that are clearer in their mind. But the more recent activities and events may be those that they don't remember so easily. So they may meet someone and get their name and forget it very quickly because it doesn't stay in the working memory, but might be able to give you a lot of information that came from the past. Now, there are changes in cognition with aging. You have cognitive slowing, which is the decrease in processing speed, so it takes a longer time to process information. and to get to the point of complete understanding. You have reduced attention and information processing, reduced amount of information that's stored in the working memory. This is reduced as you age. Younger people are able to store a lot more information in the working memory. You have a reduced ability to recall new information, although the content of a story may be remembered when prompted. So the person may not be able to recall a lot of the information, but if there are prompts from the story, then the content of that story is going to be recalled. You also have a reduced automatic recall of names and specific words, although they're part of one's vocabulary. So they may have the experience of wanting to say something, looking for a specific word to refer to a situation, but they're unable to pull up that word from their memory, even though they already know it. And chances are, sometime later when the word isn't needed, it will come to the fore. You also have reduced perceptual abilities such as spatial relationships and visual scanning. You have reduced executive functioning, that is conceptualizing a problem, making appropriate decisions, and executing plans. So the older person may have, who is in a managerial position, may experience difficulties getting those processes done effectively due to cognitive aging. Now, all is not lost, because there are some cognitive abilities that are minimally or not affected by aging, and these are the speech and language functions and the vocabulary, verbal reasoning, and speech comprehension in normal conversation. So that is not impacted for most people once there is normal cognitive aging. There are, however, methods that can be used to reduce the effects of cognitive aging, and the two broad categories that I'm highlighting here would be good nutrition and physical activity. So if you want to reduce the effects of cognitive aging, you need to maintain an intellectually engaged and physically active lifestyle that promotes successful cognitive aging. So for example, use strategies to promote thinking and remembering, structured experience in situations demanding executive coordination of skills such as complex video games, task switching paradigms, and undivided attention tasks. Better maintenance of cognitive skills may result in a reduced chance of developing Alzheimer's disease. Now, there is emerging evidence that healthy lifestyle choices are critical to reduce the impact of aging, and these are eating a healthy diet, avoiding excessive alcohol consumption, exercising regularly, participating in cognitive stimulating activities, managing emotional stress, which might include meditation, managing medical problems such as hypertension, diabetes, depression, and sleep apnea. So, yes, people go through a process of cognitive aging, but the way that process or how that process plays out is dependent on the kinds of activities they engage in that will allow them to age normally, and that they can do a lot of activities that can help to reduce the impact so that the elderly person can live independently and function, do all of the functions they are required to do without having constant supervision. And as we close, just a reminder that the language and vocabulary and verbal reasoning, comprehension are minimally affected and can be used to buffer and to support other activities to mitigate the any negative effects of cognitive aging.